no one's buying things with ETH anymore. We're consistently moving towards stablecoins. Actually, crypto is serving, if anything, to kind of uphold the US dollar over its own native asset. And so it's interesting being in a space where crypto is almost attacking like the core premise of its own value system.
David Phelps is the co-founder of JokeRace, a platform built to give communities lightweight, on-chain tools for voting, decision-making, and incentive design. Rather than relying on heavy DAO governance frameworks, JokeRace focuses on simple contests and permissionless coordination that anyone can launch. What else do you think is important right now in the space that's constantly being overlooked?
The top issue, honestly, right now is market makers. Like, the biggest issue is that the deal a market maker strikes is to short a token. Like, literally, you lend your money to a market maker. That is effectively a short because their job is to be able to buy that token down when the price goes lower. So if they can sell it off and buy it back, they have effectively made a bunch of money, right?
We are recording this live in Buenos Aires during Devconnect. We're not physically at the event because, you know, how many people are there?
Who goes to a conference to go to the conference? Come on.
I go to, for a little bit. I scurry around and then I dip out.
Yeah, you step in and you say, why am I here? And then you leave.
Yeah. I was saying this to someone the other day. I was like, they should open it up to the public. Like, stop ticketing it.
Yeah.
Just make it like the way you could walk through a park. You should be able to walk through like these Ethereum events.
It's like, what are you worried about? That the outside random people on the street are going to be crazier than the crypto people inside? Like, not a chance in the world.
No.
You think they're going to be shilling and coming up to you and begging for money more than any of the crypto founders are? Not a chance.
Yeah. They just want to go to the gaming sections, the social sections. I saw them yesterday. I went.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay, on the front of JokeRace, right?
Yeah.
Before we get into that, maybe.
Sure.
How did you even get into this space?
Great question. There's a few different stories I like to tell, but I think the really fun one is like around 2012. I had a friend who was a junkie, and she was like,
into crypto?
She was like, I can just get all the heroin I want because it's like, like 40 Bitcoins and I get like a packet of junk in the mail. And I was like, what is this scam technology? Like, this is useless. And of course, when you realize that like the history of technology is pushing the limits on things that you can't do without it, it makes perfect sense that Bitcoin is going to take off at that point, right?
Yeah.
So I totally missed it. That's how I didn't get into the space.
Did you buy things with Bitcoin?
No. I was like, this is scam technology. I don't want your heroin tokens. Like, keep those away from me, you drug addict. But a few years later, when I built my first company, which was an edtech company, we were the first users of Stripe Connect, and that really kind of changed what we were able to build because we were able to automate an entire business that didn't need any secretaries, it didn't need admin people, it didn't need accountants. Like, literally, Stripe could just handle it all. But the trade-off is I spent a lot of time on the phone trying to negotiate with them because you're paying, like 3% credit card fee. So our model was we're taking 15%. When you're paying a 3% credit card fee, that's 3% of the 15%. Like, you're paying 1/5. It's 20%.
Yeah.
Margin, right? That's eating into. And so I was like, man, what if there was some technology where you didn't have to pay the credit card fees and you could just transact directly, have people pay you automatically, not have to go through all these banks, etc. And, it's this interesting thing. Bitcoin still doesn't really make sense to me. I still don't really get it. I can understand the arguments people make sometimes when I'm occasionally smart enough. But like when I read the Ethereum white paper in like 2017, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Like execution environment, smart contracts. I was like, this is such a no-brainer that you can just program money.
Yeah.
And I think like that's kind of the thing I've been obsessed with ever since is like the idea of programmable money is just, it's really kind of fucking insane. Like, this has never existed before. Like, you just program money to do things. That was never possible.
Yeah.
And so that's what got me really excited, I think, in like 2017. And then I started building around 2021. But I started buying in like 2017 and just following it. And even throughout the bear, I still listened to like the podcast and be like, this is so cool.
Yeah. You still hold that stuff or you sold it?
Oh, I sold it. Yeah. At the worst possible moments.
Of course.
Consistently.
That's why we're still working, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the reason I stayed in crypto is because I was really bad at investing in crypto.
Yeah. I understand the tech. I'm bad with the trading. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's like the space as a whole is like anyone you see building here, you're like, oh, you're not very good at trading this, are you?
No. The traders traders are just the ones shit posting on Twitter.
Or they're retired on a fucking yacht.
That too. Yeah. So not a Bitcoin maxi, more like Ethereum aligned with everything, because you see kind of more the, I guess, advantage on that front.
As a smart contract, like execution environments, and it's actually cool now that you do kind of have that a little bit with Bitcoin. Like there's these OP stack L2s that use like an EVM execution environment, but they're being built on Bitcoin. So you can actually start to use Bitcoin to transact. I do think Bitcoin's like actually really interesting technology as an alternative to this kind of like, I almost think about like ETH or these other tokens as like a nation state currency. Like if you think about like what is a nation state, right? Or like what is a national currency? It's like, it's literally just the currency of a system of laws that are enacted in order to guarantee that those transactions will go through. Like what is the U.S. government? The U.S. government is like a series of laws to ensure that the U.S. dollar will transact, right? And like at the end of it, like that is what the purpose of the U.S. law is to ensure that there's an economy where the U.S. dollar is transacting.
Yeah.
The same thing is true for Ethereum, right? It's like Ethereum is literally just a series of laws, which we call smart contracts, that ensure the validity, right? And the validity of a transaction, right? In this native token called ETH. And Bitcoin doesn't have that, right? So I do think like the idea that Bitcoin is like the digital gold is really interesting, because it's like gold doesn't exist in any nation state like context of like, you know, having laws that can subtend it and ensure that it actually can transact.
Yeah.
So like there is this interesting thing with Bitcoin where it's like, it's actually really useless.
You're gonna upset some people.
Yeah, you're not
It's
supposed
just an asset.
You're not supposed to buy things with Bitcoin. Like you know, like
yeah, that's what I've never seen.
Besides heroin. Besides heroin, yeah.
Which neither of us have done.
No,
for the record,
I have not done heroin.
Not done heroin, nor have I bought Bitcoin or heroin with Bitcoin.
Absolutely not. No, I have not.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm poor.
Well, you would have sold the Bitcoin anyways.
Yes, yeah, exactly. This is true, as my friend did.
Yeah.
But there's something interesting where it's like, oh, actually, like its lack of utility makes it really valuable. The same way that gold is like really hard to transact. It's really hard to actually get it, use it,
could wear,
send it.
You know?
You can wear it. Yeah. It's decorative.
Can't
But
wear Bitcoin.
then you do end up at this argument, which I think is like what's challenging for both Bitcoin and ETH is like, with Bitcoin, it's like, well, why is it better than gold? You know, if it's digital gold, like why is that better than gold when gold has this entire history of validiness, right, etc. And ETH kind of is in the same place too, where you're like, well, why is it better than the US dollar? You know, like what is the improvement here?
Well,
why is
you're
it better?
arguing for that because the smart contract kind of run everything, and you don't need a quote unquote government, to the analogy that you brought up before.
In theory, yeah, like the idea that you have social consensus instead of a military is like much more inclusive, but also expansive. And also it's global, right? Like yes, the US dollar is global, it's the global reserve currency, but that's like coming with a tremendous cost, right, in terms of debt, and that won't last because it never lasts. Whereas like if you can actually create like a world computer, like that potentially is something that could last forever. And so like there actually is real potential there. But on the other hand, it's like no one's buying things with ETH anymore, right? People are using, like we're consistently moving towards stable coins. And so like actually crypto is serving, if anything, to kind of uphold the US dollar over its own native asset. And so I don't know, it's interesting being in a space where crypto is almost attacking like the core premise of its own value system.
Yeah, I think about that a lot too, especially with like the institutions coming in, the regulations. Like this wasn't built for that, but I guess it can give it more expansive.
It can serve the purpose.
Audiences?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But the other thing with stablecoins is just like, you know, if you got into this space because you were excited by democratizing finance, like anyone can get, you know, access to all of these tokens, and like from the moment they launch and like get in, it's like stablecoins, you have no access to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's only very few people who make money from that, right?
Well, ideally they stay stable, right?
It's super consolidated. Well, ideally. Ideally.
Who's making money on stablecoins if not just issuers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like Tether has like 200 people, right? With like $14 billion.
Like 30 people.
Something, 30
it's like
people.
a tiny company for what
it's like what the average profit per person is like, what, like $100 million?
Not bad. Not bad. And they're still working. So they're not retiring. We're not retiring.
I mean, it's a good business. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. JokeRace.
Yeah. JokeRace.
Tell me about it. Why did you start that after the last company?
Yeah. A bunch of different reasons. I think the kind of example I've been giving a lot recently that kind of I guess summarizes like what's interesting to me about voting and like why voting matters is like, if you look at the DAO space in like 2021, I was like very, very deep in the DAO space. Like you would have MakerDAO or something, and they would have these votes for, a treasury diversification proposal. And they'd be like, here's $1 billion that we need to figure out how we're going to allocate it. Come and vote on how we allocate it. So it's like massive amount of money. And anyone who owns that token is massively incentivized to come and vote, right? Because this is the future of their token and where it goes. And of course, no one wants to vote. It's like 40 pages. You have to read through of docs. You're not sure if you're making the right decision. There's other people maybe you want to like kind of make that decision for you. It's boring. And so like governance participation was like this constant issue that no one wanted to come out and vote, despite the fact there were massive incentives for everyone to do so, right? And then you look at something like, I think, Crypto the Game. Like Crypto the Game.
We had Dylan on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan's kind of a genius, right? Like Crypto the Game, every night you're in a tribe and you're supposed to vote each other off the island effectively, right? And so everyone can like, score a point against someone else. And the people who take the most bullets are kicked off, right? Like every night. It's like 10 people out. So logically, right? Like from game theory perspective, the logical thing to do here is just not to show up. Like if the entire team just doesn't show up at 7 p.m. and they go out and they like watch a movie or they go get dinner, no one will hurt each other. They'll all survive and they'll beat the other teams, right? And so it's like, it is in their interest not to vote. And what happens? Everyone votes. And it doesn't matter if you make that case. It doesn't matter if you tell people. It's like, they're like, no, I'm in a shooter game. I'm not going to go and play a shooter game and just stand there, But
if one person shows up, then does that screw over the rest?
It screws over one person.
Okay.
But it's still a lot better. Yeah. That's still a lot better, right? Than like screwing over 10 people. Like you can take that risk. But as soon, the way human psychology works is like, well, if there's going to be one person, then I don't want it to be me. And so I got to get tribal, right? And so it's like, oh, this is really interesting. Like why do you have this one case where people are massively incentivized to come and vote and they don't? And this other case where they're actually disincentivized from voting and they come and they do, right? And the answer to that, right, is gamification. It's like social, right, engagement. And I think it's tribalism is really like the key thing. And so like what I'm really interested in JokeRace is like in many ways it's very similar to futarchy. In some ways you could call it a subjective prediction market. It's like the way it works is you're trying to vote on what's going to win. You buy votes on it. If it wins, you earn your share of the rewards, right? So your money's going into a rewards pool. You vote on the winner. You earn the rewards. It's on a price curve. So we incentivize people to vote with conviction. And like, for me, what's really interesting is not that this is like necessarily the best way to make a decision, because I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what the best way to make a decision is. It means lots of different things in different contexts. But it's the most fun way to make a decision. It's like, the financial incentive is almost like the shiny object that pulls people in. But then you're playing this game of tribalism and you're having a lot of fun. And I think like what's been really rewarding for me is like hearing from users who DM me and they're like, oh, I just lost a bunch of money today. I had so much fun. Like
they still have fun losing money.
Yeah. Well, they'll win it the next day, So it's like
make it next time.
Make it back. We'll make it back. But it's like it's the tribalism, right? And I think like Ethereum Foundation just did this demo day with us of like a bunch of projects, and it's like, any voter is incentivized to go and learn about these projects, who they are, vote on their favorites, because then you can earn, but you also become a part of that community. Like you can start playing with them. That community can go out and be like, here's why, we want you to vote for us. And like, they now have this marketing incentive to be able to get a lot of people to learn about them too. And so stuff like that, I just get really excited by because it's like, I do think we're in a Kendrick Drake era. Like no one cares about Kendrick or Drake unless they're feuding with each other. And if you can create this kind of tribalism like Crypto the Game did, like you can actually get people to come out, register their tastes, their preferences, their beliefs by coming out and voting for stuff and having fun. And like that's actually the unlock. Like the financial piece is like the major thing in crypto that like, helps us avoid botting and it creates a financial opportunity and it's like a big shiny number. It draws people in. What's actually fun is the tribalism. Like that's the enjoyable piece.
So does JokeRace kind of differ from prediction markets because of the community aspect to it, or how do you kind of think about that?
Yeah, the way I would frame it in terms of like prediction markets is like we're a subjective prediction market. So like what we think of as prediction markets are like objective prediction markets. It's like you're predicting something that will happen. If that thing objectively happens, then you go right and you earn. A subjective prediction market is like you're voting on what you think the outcome will be, but you also affect that outcome. It's a personal taste or belief, right? So like if we take the example of the Ethereum Foundation being like, hey, what's the best project on Ethereum right now? You're voting on that and it's subjective. It really is just like, there isn't such a thing as a best project on Ethereum, but it literally will come down to the contest to decide that. And then those people earn. But you could build an objective prediction market on top of that and be like, hey, who's going to win the contest? right? And then you could go and you could bet in the objective prediction market on top of that too, right? If that makes sense. I mean, it gets hazy because a lot of the objective prediction market is actually subjective. It's like, did Zelensky wear a suit is actually a subjective question, not an objective one.
Well, I think the answer for that was he was wearing a suit, right? That was the tape.
We actually reran it. We did a contest on whether he ran a suit. I think no one on us. I think yes one on Polymarket, if I remember correctly.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I should check.
Depends on the platform.
Depends on the platform.
I think you're wearing a suit right now.
This is definitely a suit. This is my most formal wear, actually.
This is a good Berlin suit.
Yeah, this is my Berlin suit.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Communities then. How do you kind of define like what makes a good community and like where you see value in that? Because like that's such like a big thrown around term in the industry, and like everyone wants to have a good community, and then it feels like so much of it is just extractive. But then, you can find quality communities in this space.
I really think like at our heart, we are competitive as people, and that is what drives us in games, right?
Yeah, I'm competitive.
I certainly am too. So at me, come on.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Like, that was one of the things I think that was like really driving me at the very beginning of JokeRace was like looking at these DAO spaces and being like, all these projects want to build community.
Yeah.
But like, it's in this totally friendly way. And friendliness is not a way to build a community. Like, you actually don't build community. So like, I'll give maybe a stupid analogy. Like, if you have a bunch of monocellular organisms that are out there, they will not band together and form a community with each other unless you introduce a predator. When you introduce a predator, the monocellular organisms start coordinating with each other, and you actually create coordination because they have to work together to prevent the predator, right? Like threats, right? Like violence. Like, these are the things that actually create strong communities. Is like, there is this external threat of, somebody's coming against us. And we see this all the time in politics, right? It's like, why are the Republicans able to like form really strong communities and Democrats struggle? Because Republicans always have a boogeyman. Right?
Well, I think, both sides always have like that.
Yeah, there's some boogeyman for the Democrats too. But like, I think Republicans are better at playing the game of like they're going to take our jobs, they're coming after us, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's very human to be like, we need competition. So like, another example would be like, if you think about sports, like you think about basketball, it's like, you have all these fans that are so excited for their team. If there was no other team in that league and they were the only team, you would not have a single excited fan. No one wants to go to a sports game where there's only one team on the field. You don't want to be like, Miami Heat, you're my favorite team because you're the only team. Like, there are no other teams for you to play against. So I'm going to come out here, you'll stand around, and then you win the game, right? And that's literally what DAOs were. Like, it literally was just like, we're going to form community by just having these monolithic entities. And I was like, oh no, if you actually get them to compete with each other, that's what creates community. Like sports.
Right. Yeah. But what about when we all get participation trophies then?
Oh. Do we deserve them?
No. I'm of the camp that not everyone should get a participation
You don't deserve a Discord role?
No. No, I don't. Unless
I think you deserve a Discord role.
Thank you.
You deserve a Discord.
You deserve it. Everyone deserves a Discord role. Yeah. But I mean, that's something we see. Like, I don't have kids, but like I see it with kids today. Like, they all get trophies. Everyone gets it for participating, and it's like, what kind of society does that produce?
Totally. I mean, you
want to be nice. You want the kids to feel special, but not everyone can be special.
No, and you don't want to be hierarchical and be like, well, you're actually shit at this thing. But sometimes it is good to learn that you're shit at things. Like, I was pretty shit at things, and it was kind of good for me to learn that. I think build some character. No, it's definitely challenging. I think with like JokeRace, like what's interesting is like something might lose, but like they still get to see who their community is, right? Like, they can still see like, oh, these 20 people voted for us. They came out and they supported us. And it's like 2 years from now, when that project actually has crushed everyone else that was competing against them, and they're doing way better, and it turns out the contest was totally wrong. Like, they actually have a list of who those 20 people were, and that they can come and be like, you supported us when no one else did, right? So like, that's interesting to me too.
The people using JokeRace, are they crypto people, normal people? I hate that I even refer to people like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's actually a lot of people in Nigeria and a lot of people in Asia right now. And I think they're young. Like, they're pretty young, and they're crypto native. Yeah. Okay. Nice. So far, I would say is the demographic.
Is there goals to like get this beyond crypto native audiences to mainstream audience?
Yeah.
So like,
definitely.
What does that take?
Yeah, good question. I mean, this is what we're going to be figuring out in the new year. So a lot of what we're thinking about is incentives for contest creators, to get more people creating stuff. We're thinking a lot about onboarding, and like, you can get away with a lot of UX with crypto native users. They're used to a lot, but non-crypto native users are not. And so thinking a lot about stuff like Para, which we use as like, an embedded wallet, social login, and like how we can easily just like be the first place that people ever use crypto. Like they've never used it before. They come in, they set up an account, they put in their debit card, they add $10, and they can start immediately playing. Yeah. It's a long ways to get there. Like you can get there practically quickly, but to like really abstract away on the front end, like all the levels of like knowing what a token is and how many you want and like what they're used for and like what chain you're on, like it's a lot of work. So we're going piecemeal step by step, but
yeah, I like the name JokeRace too.
Oh,
it doesn't come off like
controversial.
Yeah. Why is it controversial?
Well, one, people mispronounce it a lot. So like JokeRace, JokeRace, joke.
I wouldn't
space
even.
race.
I thought JokeRace. It's JokeRace. Right?
It's JokeRace. It's JokeRace.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the other one is like, does it mean something that people don't understand? Like, is it a joking platform? Like, what is it? But no, I do think like it did come out of the idea of like governance is kind of a joke.
Okay. I was gonna ask where the name came from.
And it should be like jokes are great.
It's like when we bet on things or like form these communities, it's not that serious.
It's not serious.
That was my take on it. Yeah.
And I think that's like, it's interesting. If you compare us to a futarchy platform, we're like 90% of the DNA is the same, but like the branding is really different because like what we're really focused on is like we want this to be a fun way to make money. Like it's the outcome is like great, but it it's like reality TV shows. It's like, if people can vote on Eurovision or whatever and like who wins that, it's like I want them to be able to do that on JokeRace. Like I want them to be able to vote on who won, but it's like it's a way to get them more engaged in the experience, to up their adrenaline, to feel like they have more at stake, to actually feel like they're engaged and they're actually getting to play along with like things that matter to them and are fun.
Yeah.
It's not about like actually deciding who the best singer is on Eurovision.
Sure. Yeah.
If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that every token launch is high stakes, but Forged helps projects get it right. Thousands of Web3 projects leverage Forge's free tools to design smarter tokenomics, engage market makers on fair terms, plan listings strategically, and monitor liquidity after launch. Start using the Forge platform for free or sign up for white glove advisory services.
I mean, also on the DAO front, I used to write articles on like when DAOs first became a thing and like how this could change things. And it's like, to your point, like people didn't really want to vote, or people would vote in the beginning and then all would fall off.
Yeah.
And I remember I spoke with people from like Off-Chain Labs, and they build out Arbitrum, and Arbitrum is run by the DAO. And I said to them, like, one, isn't it kind of scary that you're like putting this responsibility in their hands? That you're trusting the community will make the right decisions with proposals, and maybe if they have a certain amount of voting power, that might
totally.
But two, it's like, how can you trust that these people are going to continue to vote for the eternity of what this chaos should exist for? You can't. Yeah. And so I don't know. Like I think some people have gotten the DAO model down pretty well, but overall it's been not exactly what it was supposed to be.
No.
So
and I think honestly the biggest missing piece for DAOs, like just summarizing everything that I've been spewing about, is fun. It's just fun. It's like crypto the game is fun. Like crypto the game is kind of a DAO, but it's fun, right? And I think it's like, there's a limit to how much like fun should be the primary driver of like a $1 billion treasury diversification. But probably a $1 billion treasury diversification should not be left to a decentralized group to decide. It probably should be left to like elected representatives who like actually understand finance to make the decision, Like there are certain things that actually are not meant to be, I think, like just decided by anyone. And for things that are meant to be decided by anyone, I think that's hopefully what we'll be able to power. Yeah.
True. You're a pretty big figure on the crypto Twitter world.
Aw.
I mean, it's true.
Appreciate that.
It's subjective.
Okay. It's subjective.
It's not
subjective. Yeah.
What is it about the current like CT zeitgeist that like you like tracking? And like what has kind of given you a position in this space, you think? Because I feel like everyone kind of brings like a unique perspective. And I read your tweets when they come up on my feed, and like you always have like pretty interesting takes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm asking you a direct question, but maybe like your position in this and like why is it such like a necessary evil maybe?
Yeah. Why is crypto Twitter a necessary evil? It's a good question. Like, does crypto Twitter matter at all right now, right? Like crypto Twitter, like one thing I think about all the time is like, let's say you're at the bottom of a bear market, right? Your incentive if you're on crypto Twitter is to talk about how terrible the market is, because that's the sentiment everyone feels, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing that is going to be reflected and get you engagement, get you virality is to be like the market is shit. But if you're a trader, like that's when you should be buying, right? It's like literally at the bottom, like you want to go and you want. So like the people who make money, like the financial capital is totally opposed to the attentional capital.
Yeah.
Like if you want social capital, you believe that the market is bad. If you want financial capital, you believe that this is actually the best market you can invest in, right? And so it creates this kind of like, opposition where anyone who's getting engagement on crypto Twitter is probably wrong.
Hey.
Yeah. It's like it really
my 2 accounts. Yeah.
it really is like it's like a counter barometer, right? Because it's like it's literally just it's just expressing the most conformist, take of the moment, which is not how you can actually really make money, right? And so I think it can get kind of dark in that way. And like, as institutions have come in and they aren't really using crypto Twitter, like they follow us because they think we're funny and we're like, like little jesters in their kingdom. But like
little monkeys.
Yeah, we're little monkeys that they like, like toss some pebbles to.
Yeah.
There's different games being played. Like, back when crypto was totally retail driven, and like crypto Twitter really mattered because that was the place where you learned about things. Yeah. But like, we all know that crypto is being run behind closed doors right now, right? It's like there are cabals, there are market makers, there are institutions. Like, there's very little that is being done in front of the scenes unless you're too late and you're exit liquidity.
Or when they're announcing it, yeah.
Yeah. So like, crypto Twitter is like largely exit liquidity right now. And so I do think it's a question that like I ask a lot, which is like, why am I on here? Like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I using this?
Yeah.
The algorithms also changed a lot, as well. And I think like the game I want to play is like one, I just want people to be thinking of me and associating with JokeRace, right? It's like just so that we stay relevant, like, being out there is important as a founder. And I think you see this all the time. It's like the projects that win have founders who are really engaged. It's almost like Ethereum, when Vitalik like left Twitter, just kind of like nosedived.
Yeah.
And then like
people were like, who is running the Ethereum Foundation?
Literally no one knew who was there, right? And then
they're active.
And then they got Tomasz to step back in, and like Vitalik came back to Twitter, and like suddenly ETH went like back up. So it's like maybe it's just correlation and not causation. Maybe there's definitely a lot of other factors too.
Yeah.
But like I do think about that and I'm like, okay, yeah, like you do need a founder who is really engaged publicly as a spokesperson and as someone who is like relatable as a human and like doesn't just feel like a machine. Like people want to know there's someone with actual real beliefs there. And I think that's really different from like 10 years ago. I think like 10 years ago, if you were a founder and you were going on opining about your belief on like Trump and Kamala or Israel and Palestine, it's like probably really would hurt you.
Yeah.
But I think in the era we are now, people just really respect you for it. Like even if they don't agree with you, they're like, okay, but you're being honest and you're coming out there and like you're being human, right? Because humanity is just so fucking lacking online right now. So I do think like being a human is like that's actually like a big part of the job. Is just to be like, yeah,
crazy concept.
I'm human. Yeah, like I have a body. It's stupid, just like yours probably is. I want to do stupid things, not yours. No, my followers, not you. Yeah. Don't worry.
Insulting the host.
You have very smart body, obviously. Mine, on the other hand, Melinek.
Yeah.
And be funny. I don't know. But also I think like I feel really lucky because I was thinking this yesterday. Like we hit profitability a couple months ago. We have runway for a few years. We have a small team. Like
awesome.
I'm known in the space well enough that it's like, and I have good relationships with a lot of people that like I don't risk a lot by saying things that other people don't want to say, or they might get really hurt for saying.
I feel that 100%.
Yeah.
Like literally, I think a lot of times, and I know we could talk about like one of the tweets you said recently, the base one, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like telling the truth it should be the standard. And like you said, being a human. And so like a lot of times I just like tweet out my thoughts. Sometimes they're stupid.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're smart.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're insightful, whatever. But like I get a lot of people that'll message me on the side and will be like, that was really a spicy tweet, Jack.
Yeah,
and I'm like, was it? I was like, I just said what I thought. Or I just said what I saw,
Right.
Like, the fact that people find sometimes the truth to be combative is very shocking.
Right.
And it's like, what is everyone else doing then? And is it performative? Is it like they're hiding stuff, or are they, to your point, afraid of telling the truth because what's the repercussions?
Everyone's
maybe you and I are in like a better position where it's like, yeah, my company is profitable, yours is as well.
Yeah.
I have great relationships with a lot of people, and like in general, I think I'm a nice person. Like I'm not an asshole. I don't know if you feel the same, but like maybe that's you're like. no, that's where you lose me. No. But
wait, can you make the case for that? Yeah. Nice person. What? Yeah.
Nice person.
Nice person.
I've just always been like, I'm gonna say the truth, and then sometimes like it's not necessary to like. I don't think punching down is a good thing.
That's also really key, I think.
But that's the difference here. Honesty is like so scarce.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to be honest.
Well, and that's another way where it's like, crypto Twitter feels like this barometer to the space, but it's actually an anti-barometer, right? Because it's like there are things that no one wants to say publicly, right? Especially in punching up. Like, there are really powerful people in this industry. We all want to work with them. We all want their attention. We all want their affirmation. We all want daddy to love us, and like, it's, it feels insane sometimes to speak out against them. I think, if you're not working from an alt or you are building something publicly, but being honest is like, will also win you a lot of respect. And it is really interesting because like, there's just a lot that people are scared to say. And like, you start going to a place like, this is why Devconnect is actually really helpful, right? Is like, I'm having all these meetings and literally everyone is saying the same things, right? The exact same things, every single conversation. But no one will say these things on crypto Twitter.
Yeah, it's true. And everything is like behind closed doors, or it's
totally
like a group of 5 to 10 people. They're talking about like the thing that they just heard. And
yeah.
Like, why isn't this public? And then it kind of goes back to, as a former journalist, it's like, that's why we kind of needed these people to do the investigative work and all these things.
Yeah.
Because without that, it's like, who's keeping it responsible?
I mean, we have the alts, right? And I do think the alts are serving like a really valuable function, but they're not always right. And so it's like there does need to be some filter on that because like their job is to report gossip, right? Like their job is to report, and like 80% of the time they're right, but like 20% of the time they're wrong. Yeah. And they're also, because they're gossip reporters, their job is to make it sound as salacious as possible too.
Yeah.
So it's like you end up in this weird space where like the alts have this game of toxic negativity where like their job is to take everyone down because that's what gets engagement. The founders who are like doxed all have this game of toxic positivity where we're all like pretending to talk really nicely about each other even though we hate each other. And it's like, I don't know, between those two worlds, I'm just like, there's very little room for people to actually, I don't know, say what they're thinking.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, on that note, for people who did not see it, and this episode will come out in like a week or two, so it might be a little dated, but like
hopefully it's died.
Hopefully it's so dated, yeah. But you tweeted something about how you're at Devconnect, you meet with founders. Yeah. And they've struggled with building on Base. You can say it better than I can. Right. But essentially, you got like a lot of backlash for it.
Yes.
A lot of quote tweets, people complaining. I know people, I believe, from Base were like, hey, David, thanks for the feedback. But, and then like, we flew them out. It's like, okay, you flew them out, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought the tweet, like, I read your tweet, I read some of the replies, whatever. I thought it was pretty reasonable. And again, it kind of goes back to the point of like, you're just being honest. These are unless, you made this up, which I don't think you did. These are conversations you've had. You're sharing the feedback, and that's the reality. And you guys also did build on Base, right?
We are on Base, and Base is still our top used chain. And we actually just ran stuff there a couple weeks ago, so it's not a personal vendetta. Like we use Base,
of course.
Yeah.
But I guess like to that point, where do you kind of feel like the responsibility falls? Is it on Base to make these teams feel like welcomed, or is it that these like Base should give you the necessary resources? It should be a functioning chain. Here are the tools.
Totally.
Off you go, and it's your problem if you fail.
Totally. And I think like the response to that tweet, one, kind of amazing. It's been a while since I've like gone that viral. It is kind of exciting. On the other hand, I'm like already so fucking tired of like I spent all morning, in beautiful Buenos Aires, like on my phone, responding to these
refreshing.
Being like, what am I doing here? This gorgeous. Yeah. It was one of those interesting things because, publicly it just got like, it got a lot of engagement. Like there were a lot of likes, but then it got massively attacked, right? Like I had people coming after me, calling me all sorts of names and failure, whatever. And like, and then privately, I've never gotten that many messages of like people being like, thank you for saying this. We never would feel comfortable saying this out loud, but this has 100% been our experience at Base. And like, you totally summarized it. And like big name projects, right? And, both are true. Like, Base has supported some teams really well, and they are right to be thankful to Base and say, like, we really appreciate it. And Base has really not supported other teams well. And, like, I think that's true for a lot of chains. And it's like, no one's perfect, and we're all figuring this thing out. I think, like, the other interesting kind of thing to the reaction was, like, it really felt like people read the first half of my post, but not the second. which is normal.
Which, yeah, I would not doubt that people did not read a whole thing.
For sure. Because the first half of the post, I'm like, okay, here's my issues with Base, right? Like, here's my issues with like why I don't like the way Base is doing things. But the second half of the post, I'm like, but to be fair, like every chain has run into these issues. It's like everyone,
not unique to Base.
Everyone a year ago was like, go build on Solana. They're going to solve for your distribution. You're going to get tons of users. Go there. All these apps went and built in Solana. None of them got users, right? 2 years ago was Blast. Everyone's like, go build on Blast. They're going to get you tons of users. People went on Blast. It did not get them tons of users, right? Yeah. And like, I do think it's really fair to say like, no, a chain cannot get distribution to an app that doesn't have product market fit, right? And that was like one of the top things that people are yelling at me about is they're like, you have a failed product, like a chain cannot help you. And that's probably true. Where I think a chain's responsibility is, like, personally is to be honest. If we go back to this question of honesty, right? Yeah. About what they can and can't do. And I think it's very fair to be like, yeah, we can't support everyone. It's like, we will not be able to
walk away, but yes.
But look at what Mega ETH is doing, right? Like Mega ETH literally has a thing called the Mega Mafia. And they're like, these are our apps. We have expressly curated, picked these, gatekept them, believe in them. And here's why. And we're going to support them. Anyone else can deploy on Mega ETH if they want to. We'll take a look. If we like it, we'll support you. But like, please know, like, that's up to you. Like the stuff that we are personally pushing is these. And it's like, it's not that different from going on the App Store and having featured apps. Like you go on the App Store, the job of the App Store is to distribute apps, right? But Apple is going to feature certain ones that they like. That's it. Like that's totally normal, I think, as a behavior for distribution to be like, we're going to pick favorites and we're going to be open about those and we're going to be opinionated. And I think like where you run into a lot of issues in crypto generally is like this idea that we're supposed to be permissionless and therefore credibly neutral and therefore unopinionated. And Ethereum kind of fell for this for a long time. I think Base is kind of falling for it now. It's like, you cannot afford to be unopinionated. Like, because you're just going to disappoint everyone. Like you're going to, everyone's going to think that they're going to get support and then they're not going to get it. And like what is really interesting with Base is like actually Base understands what they need to do a lot better than other chains do. Like they understand distribution is the game. Yeah. They've made that a central point. Jesse is out there every day talking about how important distribution is and how he wants to support apps. They build an app store to do it, right? So it's like, part of the issue actually is that they get it and they're making really big promises, and those promises are really just hard to keep, to be honest. But like they deserve credit, I think, for like at least kind of understanding the game and pushing. And in many ways, I think Base has pushed us kind of in the right direction, but we're starting to see the failures of that approach, I think, also.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah.
Well, so what's the solution to all this?
I
like as a founder building on this, like what would be the ideal outcome for you?
I think that, well, look, as as a person building a curation tool where you could decide, build a product on every week and let community decide what apps get featured, I would love to see a chain where they let the community come and vote on like what's going to get distribution and what's going to get featured and what's going to get seen, and use that as a marketing campaign. So I do think there's a decentralized way to do this. It's really fun. But like, I do think on the other side, the centralized approach of like what Mega ETH is doing is also pretty good. Like be like really clear, like here's what we pick, here's why. And like, I do think Base deserves some credit for like going deep on the content coin thing. I hate it. I think it's so fucking stupid. But like,
I'm not a fan of the content.
I'm not a fucking fan. I think it's so dumb on so many levels. But you know what?
And they keep driving it home.
Lots of things I thought were dumb. Oh, sorry, I'm touching the mic. Lots of things I thought were dumb have done really well in this space, right?
Sure. But this hasn't done well. And it's been months. And
it's been months, and the meme coin thesis is dying, and the content thesis is dying, and even the content and meme coin people don't want this. But anyway, like the fact they have a thesis, I think, is good, and I kind of wish they had more. Like I kind of wish like Base actually like was like, we have 5 theses, and like one of them is content coins, but there's actually 4 other theses that we have about the future that is not just mass tokenization of like artwork.
And and I mean, people are speculating because I know Coinbase put on their like Twitter bio December 17th, and so people are thinking like, oh, is that the day we get a Base token, and that'll just absolutely obliterate any content coin that had any grubba value,
right?
If any of them do.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens with that.
I don't know. What else is keeping you up?
Well, what's your answer to this? I don't know. What do you think the solution is?
To working with these teams?
Yeah, or how change should be.
I don't think they'll ever fully be transparent, because then you'll just lose any developer mindshare.
Possibly.
Like, because you could just be like, oh, we will give you the tools and we will give you a grant and we'll never work with you again.
Right.
And then it's like, ooh, I don't want to work with that chain.
Well, that's been most chains historically. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they should be truthful to an extent. I wish they would be truthful fully, but that's never going to happen.
Of course,
so
not going to happen.
Being realistic on that front, I think just like maybe the categories they excel at is where they should try and bring developers in.
Yeah.
So like certain chains have really great infrastructure and like tech for DeFi or high frequency trading, or like these certain niche things that can fit on their platform that maybe wouldn't fit elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so like honing in on that is super important in my eyes. Or like some of them have like really great like NFT cultures or communities, like Flow. They have like MBL Top Shot, you know? So like why not hone in on those things opposed to trying to like be the generalist chain and then like really try and get those teams that have had product market fit to then like bring new ones that are in a similar bucket, because then they could kind of like ideally replicate or, you know, foster a bigger community on that front.
Yeah.
That'd probably be my take, but I don't know if there's a perfect solution. I think saying a chain is for everyone is maybe trying to be inclusive, which is nice, but then
it's pretty exclusive.
It's almost
ultimately.
like it's a blanket statement, you know?
It's meaningless. And it reminds me of Ethereum being like, you know, years ago being like, well, we won't support any apps because if we support one, then that's actually like taking a stance against the other. So we won't, so none of you get anything. And it's like,
none of you instead of everyone.
Once you're for everyone, you're for nobody, you know? It's
so true. That's how I feel about things.
Yeah. And I do think it's like, you can be permissionless on a technological level, but like on a marketing level, I do think you have to be really opinionated.
Yeah.
Like for where you stand and what you stand up for and what your values are. Like,
I do also feel like a lot of it does fall on the teams. Like it's not, in the beginning, maybe it's the foundation's job to like help you launch and get, you know, up on the chain, but it's not really their responsibility to make you successful.
No.
So
and
I think some
totally
people like maybe misinterpreted your post, or at least that's how I saw it. But
totally agree.
Like founders, it's their job to build something that people like and like market it and grow it. And it's so wonderful if a chain does broadcast you.
Totally.
But it's not their job.
No, and I do think it's like product market fit is like something you have or you don't. And if you're at 0 and the chain can multiply your users by 100, you're still at 0, right? And so like it is really important, I think, for chains to be selective, but to be like, look, if we can find stuff where they're at 1 and we can multiply it to 100, like we can just give you that scale because we featured you in the store that people use. We talk about you. We use your product for our own campaigns, you know? There's a lot that you can do. And it was like, you know, people are attacking me being like, well, you didn't get basis support, and so you're blaming them for your failures. But I'm like, Avalanche just used us and they generated $1.5 million to users. We just used a base campaign like 2 weeks ago where we generated like $100,000 almost to voters, right? Like the traction is definitely there. Like they can do these campaigns if they want to, and they would go off, and it would be great for them. And I'm like, if they don't want to do that with us, that's totally fine. Like we're gonna make it or not, regardless of whether base uses us. Like,
so Avalanche was like a good example of like utilizing it for.
But they used it, and it drew a lot of attention to their apps because it was a showdown about what the best app was.
Yeah,
those apps built a lot of community, and then they also used us, and it was great for us on Avalanche, and we got a bunch of Avalanche users. And I was like, that was just a win-win-win for everyone involved, right? Yeah. So it's like, you can also use your own products that are on, you know, and it's like one of the responses to my tweet was like, we flew in these people, we did a big demo day. And I was like, well, Polygon, Arbitrum, Avalanche, and Ethereum Foundation itself have all within the past 2 months done demo days on us, on their own chain. You're bragging to me about doing a demo day, but you could have done it on base. Like you could have literally used us, done it on base, and you would have gotten way more traction because you would have gotten people. So like my gripe is not like I need you to survive. It's like we could be supporting each other. You'd be great for us, but we'd also be good for you, you know? Right. Anyway, it's totally fine that they don't want to use us. I don't like, I honestly just wish they were clearer about that instead of promising the world.
That's where it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
But there we go. Okay, what else do you think is important right now in the space that's constantly being overlooked?
Oh, good question. I really think marketing is everything right now. The other big, I mean, okay, the really big things, everyone talks about privacy. I think we all know that that's huge.
So it's the narrative they're following right now.
I can talk about privacy endlessly and, you know, how important it is, but we all agree on that. Like, I think we know, right? The top issue, honestly, right now is market makers. Like the biggest issue is that the deal a market maker strikes is to short a token. Like literally you lend your money to a market maker, that is effectively a short because their job is to be able to buy that token down when the price goes lower. So if they can sell it off and buy it back, like they have effectively made a bunch of money, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's strike prices and options, and there's ways that you hedge against this that they have in place. And like, you can do the math and see if you know the strike price. Often that's like the maximum price the token will go to. It's not really the market maker's fault. It's like that's literally how they have to structure these things. But like until we can find, I think, alternate sources of liquidity, we're looking at an environment where there really are kind of three types of launches in the past year. I think one is like a hyperliquid, where it's like they actually had revenue before they launched a token, and then that is able to power it. Pump in some ways is like this too. And that's clearly the way to do things. Then you have like ones where they just go to the market makers and the token collapses 95%. The number of projects that think they're going to get away without this happening and then they don't is just hubris, right? And then you have a select number of tokens that mysteriously just keep going up. And like, come on, like we know why they're going up. Like there's just massive crime being committed, in the background. Like, and everyone knows this. No one wants to say it.
You think so?
I know it. Like,
well, if you know it, go get the crime out. Go get Zach XPD or whatever his name is. So.
No, it's all behind closed doors, It's like, and shout out, like that's a marketing strategy. Like commit crime so that your token goes up and then people care about you and they pay attention. Then they actually come and building your chain.
Oh my God.
Like, there's a whole history of companies that commit, like Seagram's, right? Seagram's was like a bootlegger. It's a bootlegger for years. And then the moment that alcohol became legal, they had the distribution in the network to actually go legit. So like committing crimes to go legit has a place within the history of capitalism. Like they want to play that game, go ahead, but like it's not a game I want to play. It's not a game I'm happy to see played.
Yeah.
Like
we had a Forged on the podcast. And they do kind of like token transparency. They have stats and rankings on market makers and everything. And it's kind of like, again, I've said necessary evil already in this episode, but like market makers kind of fit that function too.
Yeah.
Because literally their name is market makers. They make the markets, move the tokens around, and like I'm watering it down to like what it actually is. But there needs to be a lot more transparency.
There needs to be a lot more transparency, and it's just like when we talk about the importance of privacy, it's like, well, actually everything is already happening privately. It's just happening off chain.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think like it also creates this interesting environment where in the pre-market maker environment of tokens, that launched before like 2021, so like Solana, Ethereum, they escaped those issues. And so like actually those feel like a lot safer bets right now. And I think part of the reason we're seeing like altcoins just not take off is because altcoins are all subject to these market makers, whereas like the OG tokens are not. And so they start to feel a lot safer.
Yeah.
And so it could also be this dividing point in crypto history where it's just like, we all learn to accept that ETH and Sol are the bets, but we'll see. That's definitely been the case for the past year.
Is that your bags?
No, I've lost all my money. I have no bags.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hopefully, that.
Hopefully I'll get some. Yeah. If you know of any bags around here, I'd love some. Yeah.
There's one right there.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Last thing, David, can you leave us with a piece of advice, something that you've carried with you throughout your time in this space?
Oh my God. The best piece of advice I ever got was I was like, so I didn't tweet until I didn't have Twitter until 2021. And that was the first time I got it. And the first 6 months or so, I didn't know anyone in crypto. I didn't work in crypto, and I was like trying to build a following, discussing it. And it took me like 4 or 5 months to get 100 followers, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It was like really...
the early days are a grind.
Really hard, right? Like that's really difficult. But I had some really nice people support me. But like everyone would meet me and they'd be like, oh, I thought you were like a 55-year-old academic. Because like the way I was tweeting was like to be taken seriously, I was like, I'm going to write these like full paragraphs of, like academic text, which is how I'd been trained. And I was like, and like, I had a friend who was like, you're really goofy in person. Like, why aren't you goofy online? And that's actually what changed everything for me, because then I started being goofy online and it's like, it's a fit for me because that's kind of what I'm like. And I do think it's like, we're all so tempted to play by other people's playbooks in terms of like what a good founder looks like. And like, honestly, just being yourself, this is terrible advice. Like, I think if you can find, you have to understand that being online is performative and you're performing a character and you have to understand who that character is. But the more that that character is like an exaggeration or cartoon version of yourself, I think the more that you will actually be able to have some sort of unique say that actually matters to people.
The authenticity of it all. Yeah. Love it. Amazing. David, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but we're going to have to end it.
Wow, it feels like I've been talking that long, huh?
You haven't.
Damn. Wow. Felt like 3 hours, huh?
Yes. Thank you. No, it's
Thank
been
you
great.
for having me.
Thanks.